Coming to you live from the JRE Tobacco Aladino Mobile Studios, it's the Cigar Pulpit.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm the Bishop of the Burn, Nick, and with me tonight, coming in for Pulpit Fest, which is tomorrow, we have Trent.
Hey, everybody.
You got to town early.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
And you found your way here.
I did.
How did that happen? I've been specifically saying nobody's crashing here.
I mean, I'm not crashing here.
I mean, you and Travis have been the two instigators on the and Teddy.
Yep.
Teddy. You, Travis,
the three T's.
Yeah, I would say the three T's have been the instigators of trying to get me to buy a bunch of shit and provide a bunch of shit for a Pulpit Fest, and so I'm a little disconcerted that you just show up at my front door and like, hey buddy, what's going on?
Hey. You said we were recording here.
So you're going to not play along with the bit, and you're just going to be honest about it. Okay. All right. That's fine. Well, tonight we're going to be smoking something a little special. I dug into the humidor, and I found a JC Newman American, and it's the special size that Drew Newman smokes. It's it's like a larger. It's not quite a Lancero. It's about Lonsdale.
I'd say it's more Lonsdale.
Like circumference,
but
ring gauge.
Yeah, because it's probably, what, a 44?
Give or take.
40,
but
yeah,
this is
44.
But this is more like a solid.
But it's probably 6 3/4.
6 3/4,
maybe
7. But yeah, it's an interesting size.
Could be one of the weird ones.
And for those of you unfamiliar with the American, it is an all-American cigar. The wrapper, binder, and filler are all grown in the United States. The paper for the band is made in the United States. The ink on the paper in the band is made in the United States. The box is from United States wood and is constructed in the United States. The hinges are made in the United States. Just the whole damn thing is all American.
Every aspect.
And this was Drew Newman's passion project, and this is his special size that he was kind enough to share with me at TPE, and now I'm sharing with you.
Well, thank you.
See how that works? You come over to help me out of a bind to give me somebody to talk to, and, you get a cigar. So it all works out. Anyway, it's time to go ahead and cut the cigar. The official cutting is brought to you by Dan the Man Ponder over there at Riverman Cigar Company. And, guys, we're doing Pulpit Fest this weekend at Dan's place. We'll be over there on Saturday, starting right when they open at 11. We'll be hanging out. I know Miss Cindy is making snacks.
Ooh.
I know. She's making snacks. I don't think it's going to be – it's not like charcuterie.
Oh, nice,
that sort of thing. But that's nice with cigars.
Yeah.
I don't really like heavy food with cigars. Charcuterie works out very, very well.
Yeah.
But, that's the kind of awesome service that you get there at Riverman Cigar Company. And they've got a great humidor filled with all kinds of fun cigars that you can try. And if you don't make it there for Pulpit Fest on Saturday, meaning tomorrow by the time this comes out, so realistically, if you're not here, you got to bust your ass. You have next weekend as well, because Dan is having his annual party on Saturday, September 30th, featuring cigar rollers and manufacturers. He's got live music. He's got some great food that's going to be out there, and I'm sure he's going to have some badass cigar specials that you're going to want to take advantage of. But that's Riverman Cigar Company, Crestwood, Missouri. Oh, yeah, they do mail order, so if you're not in the St. Louis area, you can give them a call, and they'll get cigars shipped to you right away. St. Louis, Missouri, Crestwood, Missouri, suburb of St. Louis, Riverman Cigar Company. And with that, it's now finally time to go ahead and cut the cigar. I think I've yammered on long enough. So, let's get this guy cut and lit so we can get on with the fun. Give this a cold draw here. Kind of earthy. A little earthy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've had the American so many different times. It's kind of one of those things that it's like, it's the American.
I was going to say, I've had it a few times, but yeah, like you said, never in this size, so I'm excited to try it.
I was going to say, it'll be fun to try it in a smaller size and see how the size kind of affects it. So, because I mean, it's one of those things we all talk about. Oh, the smaller ring gauge, you get more flavor from the wrapper. Well, in this case, this will be fun to see how that plays out. All right. So, how long of a drive is it from your neck of the woods to here?
I think it was 9 hours or so, 8.5, 9 hours, something like that.
Okay. And you're near the Atlanta area.
Yeah.
So that's not that bad. That's. Did you do it today, or did you leave yesterday and crash somewhere, or
just today? I left the house about 6:15 this morning.
Well, you would have gained an hour when you jumped from the East Coast to the Central time.
Yeah, went from Eastern to Central.
Yeah.
So, yeah, left home about 6:15 Eastern. Got here, stopped at Sam's Club and got gas, and also went in and picked up a couple of things not available at Georgia Sam's Club because they don't sell hard liquor.
Oh, really?
In stores, yeah. So
really,
grabbed me a couple bourbons and.
Well, if anybody's listening, that is not interstate transportation, because I don't think he bought enough. No. You gotta watch that.
Surely not.
You gotta watch that. The quantity matters.
Hey, I'm keeping it from me.
No,
so
see, that's the funny thing. The quantity does matter. I was talking to a friend of mine a little bit back, and Yuengling beer not available here in Illinois. It is now in Missouri, still not in Illinois.
Yeah,
but back in the day, it really wasn't available in this area.
Yeah.
And so they were in, I think, Kentucky or Indiana, one or the other, and they were getting it. And it was them and two of their friends. And they loaded up on Yuengling. I mean, each of them bought 10 cases.
Yeah.
All right. So they loaded up the vehicle and then took off. Well, they didn't realize until later that once they crossed that border into Illinois, that's essentially interstate smuggling, kind of a thing.
Wow.
It's a crime. So you got to watch the quantity that you're bringing back. But you only bought a bottle, so it's no big deal.
A bottle, yeah.
Damn it, Trent, you're supposed to just roll with it. The last thing in the world you want is some goody two-shoes actually listening to this and being Anyway.
If we're going to Riverman tonight, who knows? One of those, I may be one less than I am now.
True.
Tomorrow.
That's valid. That's valid. And seeing tomorrow, my God. So tonight, we're talking
Tomorrow,
about going and hanging out at Riverman. Tomorrow, I mean, we've got Top Shooters at 4. There's really kind of nebulous nothing plans prior to that.
Yeah.
So, I really don't know what's going on prior to that. But, yeah.
Couldn't get anybody in on going and having a round of golf.
Well, I'll be honest. I don't know when everybody's actually coming in.
That's true.
It seems like everybody seems to be kind of coming in tomorrow because
I think so.
I know you came into town, and I know one other couple that came into town today. But realistically, it seems like everybody else is kind of coming into town tomorrow. So I don't really quite know. Yeah, it may be one of those things that trying to schedule something for tonight or tomorrow morning just may have been difficult logistically, for that. But that's okay. That's all right. So you're staying over in the Missouri side, kind of. I'm not going to say exactly where because whatever. I don't want to. I mean, granted. Well, no, you'll still be there by the time this comes out. So
I'm there till Sunday.
All right, so we'll keep that to ourselves. But I will say where you picked is very good, strategically located.
Yes.
It's not very far from Top Shooters.
No, I went through Columbia on the way here.
That's my point. So so I mean, you saw how close it generally is.
Yeah, it's probably 15 minutes.
And then from Riverman, you're about the same. So that's good. Now Lit,
Lit's gonna be a little further.
Lit's a little further. But
it's on the other side of town.
Yeah, well,
but they're just further out. I mean, no matter where you're at. I mean,
I won't get into the specifics, but original plans did change. Let's put it that way, and we'll just leave it at that. We'll leave it at that, but that's okay. We like Lit, and it's a nice new facility. You're going to enjoy the bar and the humidor selection there, and it'll be a good time. But and that's the nice thing too, is it's different from Riverman. That's the cool thing about St. Louis. We have quite a few cigar shops in St. Louis, and they all generally kind of fit a different niche.
Have different atmospheres,
Yeah, so that's kind of cool. But anyway, so in terms of planning for this thing, I wanted to kind of briefly touch on some of the things that kind of go into the planning for all this, and thus kind of some of the I don't know, I don't want to say issues, but complications that came up this year and that I want to try and rectify for next year. Now, you have been bringing up the idea of doing some sort of a pre-party on Thursday, something during the day on Friday prior to Top Shooters. You threw out golf, you threw out other kinds of other things, and we just talked about some of the logistical issues with that, namely when people are coming to town.
People not able to make it in,
Yeah, but see, part of it too is that like it really does come down to head count, and so what I'm thinking about doing for next year, I'm just going to throw this out now so that we can start mulling it over, because I want to get a jump start on planning for next year. One of the things I'm thinking about doing for next year is having a ticket, having a paid ticket. And I don't want to make money on it. I will tell you flat out right off the beginning, whatever the price of said ticket is, what that basically does is it gets you your seat in what I will call the VIP experience, and then from there, it will cover the cost associated with that experience.
Well, your seat on the party bus.
Well, maybe. I mean, the party bus, boy, you know what? If we're doing a ticket,
we get here,
if we're doing a ticket, theoretically that would be feasible, because then it's like I could just be like, all right, we got this. But so for example, in Columbia, there's Stumpy's Distillery.
Yeah,
I wanted to do a tour of Stumpy's.
Yeah,
the problem with that is they charge for the tickets for the tour. I don't have the money to front everybody.
I
don't know, and you got to have a head count.
Yep.
And it's one of those things where I don't have the money to front everybody. So, like, I'm not going to just buy the tickets, But by doing it this way, if let's say the ticket to Pulpit Fest cost maybe $50,
mm-hmm.
and maybe 15 of that was the ticket to the Stumpy's tour.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 of that covered your part of the party bus rental,
mm-hmm.
and the remaining 25 went to, like, dinner, to where we can organize a dinner for everybody that bought tickets, to where then the $50 covers all that. There's still going to be the goodie bags and the prizes and everything. I've got a whole ton of giveaway prizes in there.
Yeah.
For tomorrow, I do have goodie bags for everybody. And you call what?
I caught a peek.
Yeah.
Of the goodie bags.
Let's be real. Yeah. Well, and the prizes, man, let's be real. Let's just put it this way. Drew Estate sends a lot of swag, and I don't really need any of it, so you guys can have it. But anyway, but my point is, there's still going to be a value. You're going to get what you get, and basically your ticket just covers the cost. I mean, again, I don't want to make anything, but then that way, I can get a head count.
Yeah,
and that can be what we call the VIP experience.
Yeah,
and then
not
from there,
saying that other people that kind of spur of the moment.
That's the thing. And from there,
want to do all this
we
stuff,
can have the free level.
Yeah,
the free level is you show up at Top Shooters, you show up at the cigar shops that we visit on Saturday.
Yep.
But you don't get the Stumpy's tour. You don't get the dinner.
Yeah.
You don't get the party bus. You got to figure out your own transportation to and from and everything like that. And I think that's fair, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm leaning.
I like that idea.
That's really where I'm leaning for next year. It brings a little sense of organization to it, and it brings a little bit of like ability for me to plan and make an actual like event out of it, and not just like, okay guys, we're gonna caravan and basically do a crawl from one place to another, which is kind of what we're doing, Anyway. Yeah, Josh?
Yeah, I like that idea.
Okay.
I do. The only thing when it comes to the party, and granted, kind of, you'd have to figure out
I've never rented a party bus, so realistically, I don't know what goes into that.
But I mean, you know, I assume probably best bet's going to be have a meeting place, or like, you know, everybody congregate at the first place.
That's the other thing that I wanted.
Because otherwise, you know, if you're trying to pick everybody, like, you know, realistically, if you've got one person
that's
staying,
the other thing I want to do
one side of town,
I think it would be good to have an official hotel.
Yeah.
Maybe see if I can get a block of rooms.
Yeah.
You know, or something like that. And then that way, you know, we have one hotel where, look, if you're staying at that hotel, come on down to the lobby. If you're not staying at that hotel, get to that hotel by this time and beat your car and then get on the party bus. But the party bus leaves from this hotel at this time, and you'll be returned to your hotel or your vehicle at that hotel at, you know, this time, and, you know, we go from there. So I think that's good, you know?
Yeah.
That's the thing. People don't understand the amount of, like, thought and logistics that goes into this. And, I mean, my God, we're just talking about Pulpit Fest. Can you imagine trying to organize the New England Cigar Festival?
No.
I mean, fuck, man. No. Well, let's put it this way. I looked into, prior to them announcing the micro wrestling, I looked into what it would cost to get micro wrestling at Top Shooters. I'm not joking. Legitimately looked into it. They had two, like, pricing tiers. One is if you want to keep the ticket proceeds, it's $10,000 to bring them in.
Wow.
If you do not want to keep the ticket proceeds and they keep the ticket proceeds and basically, like, whatever, then they keep the ticket proceeds, and then there was also another cost involved. Yeah. So, like, that $10,000 went down.
So it's probably nonetheless, a couple thousand.
But I think you had to. But I think you had to like guarantee somehow a certain number, and it was just like, well, I can't do that, you know. So then it's like I'm looking at $10,000, and I'm like, I don't remotely have $10,000 to bring in micro wrestling.
Yeah,
you know. So that immediately went right out the door. So for what it's worth, for those of you going to the New England Cigar Festival, I don't know what Dave did. I don't know if he got a better deal. I mean, he's a shrewd businessman. He might have gotten a better deal than me, but the micro wrestling ain't cheap. So if you got your ticket for the New England Cigar Festival, something tells me a lot of that money went to the micro wrestling. But yeah, and I like the idea of having a dinner. See, that's the thing. This year, the dinner is going to be very unofficial, very like, hey, we're leaving this place. We're going to meet up at Lit at 6:30. There's time in between. Whoever wants to grab dinner can grab dinner. Yeah. And it's going to be, depending on how many of us there are, it might be kind of a pain in the ass trying to figure out where to go.
Get in somewhere.
It might be one of those things where some people are at some tables.
There's a lot of us.
You know, whatever. So, we're going to have to figure that out. But I don't know. I don't know. Anyway. I don't know how interesting this was to anybody, but there is a lot that I guess it's one of those things I just want to emphasize. There's a lot that goes into these things. And so if you go to a cigar event, be it Pulpit Fest, New England Cigar Festival, Kansas City Cigar Festival, Rocky Mountain, Ybor City Festival, you know, those kind of things, there's a lot that goes into the logistics of all that. And so, you know, just be patient. If something's not going right, it's because nothing ever fully goes 100% perfect. So just be patient. Anyway, what are you getting on the cigar? You're smoking a little faster than I am, but I'm talking a lot.
It's good. I'm trying to place like the notes that I'm getting. So I've had this note with other cigars before. Kind of the best way I can describe it is like, and which I retro hell pretty much every puff.
Yeah.
So, you know, but it's what makes me think of whenever you open old books.
Musty.
That mustiness, but it's
not like you open up your attic door musty.
No, it's a very distinct mustiness.
It's the smell of rich mahogany and old books.
Leather-bound books.
Leather-bound books. Yeah, I mean, I get kind of a and this is the whole thing, man. Like it's like it's kind of all subjective to everybody. But I'm sitting here kind of like getting a kind of dirty earth and nutty component, like, but not like a peanut, but kind of like a walnut or a like rich dark pecan kind of, like a real nutty nut, you know. So I don't know. It's good though. I like.
Yeah, I've definitely gotten some earthiness.
I'll say that the flavor on it is a little different, slightly, ever so slightly, than I typically smoke either the Toro or Robusto of this cigar. So smoking this one, it's a little different with getting a little bit more wrapper to it.
Just picked up some baking spice.
A little less of that Pennsylvania Mennonite filler, you know? Yeah. Baking spice, huh?
Yeah, on the Retro Hell, definitely picked up some baking spice.
Okay. Well, now before we get into the Villiger Entertainment Report, so obviously, based upon your hat, you work with Luciano and ATL Cigars.
Yes.
Would you like to give a little pitch plug, talk about what came out of PCA, things of that nature,
Yeah, so
I don't want to put you on the spot or anything, but I figure
you do.
This is your opportunity. Well, for a guy who calls into the hotline not lately, but like prior was calling in like 15 times. You've been awful quiet today, so I figure I need to give you a little kick here, prompt you here. Let's get this going.
All right. So I'm the rep for
You're like, fuck
Mississippi,
you. I drove
Alabama.
9 hours to get here. Anyway. I'm sorry. Yeah. Rep for Mississippi.
Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina for Luciano Cigars, which Luciano does distribution of ATL Cigar Co. stuff, which was how I got on with them, connected, because I had been working with ATL part-time for a couple of years before they partnered with Luciano for distribution. So PCA this year, we had a few new releases. The Y Panda, which I know I've seen a couple of people on the Broke Ass Hose chat.
The Cigar Pulpit
smoking that.
Parishioners, Facebook chat known as the Broke Ass Hose.
And
boy, we haven't referenced that in a little while.
No.
Yeah. Anyway.
Dave
still hasn't responded to my latest offer. That's the problem. I threw out all that stuff, and he's just kind of like crickets, man. So
I'll get back to that.
Boy.
Remind me,
Oh, boy. Okay. So Y Panda.
But anyway, so the Y Panda, the Maria Lucia, which was one that came out last year at PCA in one size, expanded it to a full line. The ATL stuff, most of them got new sizes. And then Luciano is also working with and distributing for a guy named Sally Delay, who's in Germany. He's pretty much like the cigar guy in Germany. Has like 2 or 3 shops. One of the La Casa de Habanos does distribution over there. And so he has several lines of his own. Luciano started making one, the Delay Nicaragua. And so that's being distributed. It's being made by Luciano and distributed in the U.S. by him. So it's the first time Solly has had distribution in the U.S. of any of his cigars.
Okay.
And then another line that Luciano's not making but is distributing. It's the Delay Istanbul, which actually uses Turkish tobacco in the filler.
How's that?
It's interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm putting you on the spot as somebody who works for Luciano.
No, well, I mean, we've talked about it in our sales calls that we have and stuff on Zoom. Like, everybody's
different strokes for different folks. Exactly.
It's not something that I'm wanting to like smoke every day, but it's definitely different. It's like, so it's Turkish Latakia, which is a pipe tobacco.
I was going to ask if it's very pipe tobacco-ish.
Well, so it's air-cured instead of fire-cured like the pipe tobacco would be. So it doesn't taste like a cigar that has pipe tobacco in it, like some of them that, like the Stillwell Star or something like that.
Just about to say
it's not like that, but
Saka stuff.
what I've noticed is like the aroma of the smoke, like while you're smoking it, like not necessarily the flavor, but like just the smoke itself, smelling it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of reminiscent of pipe tobacco, but not strong. It's just kind of very subtle.
Okay.
So
interesting. Okay. Well, then very cool. Well, any other plugs you want to throw out there before we get into the Villiger Entertainment Report?
Yeah,
okay. Well, then
we're good.
We'll move on. It's time for the Villiger Cigars Entertainment Report, brought to you by
Villiger.
Villiger Cigars, one of the leading cigar and cigarello manufacturers in the world, founded in 1888 and still family-owned and operated. Head over to VilligerCigars.com and check the store locator to find a shop near you that carries them. We guarantee that Villiger Cigars will be a wonderful addition to your humidor and cigar rotation. I need to slow down my smoking on this thing. I'm getting a slight run from it, and that's my fault. It's not the cigar's fault. It's one of those things that I always have to remember that with the smaller ring gauges.
Yeah.
That you got to slow it down a little bit. You can't just like sit and just, puff on it, because at some point or another you're going to get a little bit of a run. But anyway, so yes, Villiger Entertainment Report. Now, before we get into the Villiger Entertainment Report, have you had Villiger cigars?
I have. I've had a few. I know I've had the La Libertad.
It's a good one. I like the La Libertad.
I forget the name of it. It's in a Solomon or Figurado kind of thing. I don't remember the name of it.
I don't know.
I don't know. I've had a few different ones. I actually saw one the other day that I had not had somewhere and grabbed it and brought it with me for Pulpit Fest.
There you
I'll
go.
have that
I'm hoping
that, as something.
I'm hoping that Teddy, I know Teddy cleaned out the TAA 2020s at the Tinderbox, and I'm hoping that maybe there might be one of those coming my way, but I can't guarantee it. I'm not going to dry bag for it, but, whatever.
Unless he listens to this on the way up.
It's very possible. Tomorrow. It's very possible that he does. So we'll see. We'll see. So, Villiger Entertainment Report, what have you been watching?
So...
Do you have time to watch things? How much time are you on the road?
Yeah. I mean...
is that your primary job now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, unfortunately, being in the Atlanta area, about half my shops are drivable in a day and still be home that night of the stuff that's in my territory.
Yeah, that's kind of
between the 4 states. Atlanta is the most densely populated with cigar shops in the world. I mean,
that's
per capita.
helpful.
So yes, that is very very helpful. Last couple of weeks I've been busy. Haven't had as much time so just coming off of Atlanta Cigar Week, which was last week, and then Atlanta Cigar Experience is this week. So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Wait a minute. So
a
Atlanta Cigar Week was last week, and the Atlanta Cigar Experience is this week?
Yes.
Why don't they just have them? Why are they having them back to back?
I'm not 100% sure, but I know.
Are they friendly with one another?
I don't. I'm not.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Sure
I don't want to put you on the spot,
and
I don't
want to sure who all is.
All right. I don't want to put you on the spot. I'm just kind of curious as to why two organizations would have basically are they basically the same kind of event?
Same top. Yeah. Just a cigar week
kind of event.
It's
back.
It's 2 weeks back to back.
That.
Yeah.
That seems like one is cannibalizing
cigars
the other.
In Atlanta. It's in September.
That really does. It feels like it would be better if one were in May.
Yeah.
And one were in September. And then at that point, both of them could potentially draw in everybody instead of some people they're I'm busy this week. I'll just hit the one next week. Friendly advice to the Atlanta Cigar Week people and the Cigar Experience people. This is not Trent saying this. This is me saying this, a guy from St. Louis who doesn't give two shits about your event, quite frankly, because I don't live near there. So it's not like I'm really
You should come down for it.
I mean,
maybe
at some point, but I'm just saying, like, the reality is I'm not gonna, like, I'm not a local.
It's been 2 weeks.
Well, I'm not a local. Well, and that's the other thing. It's like, no, I'm going to pick one, and I'm not going to do the other. Whereas if you spread it out, Atlanta being 9 hours away, I potentially could make May and September, and then suddenly, you have two. So something to consider if you want to bring in out
something I have seen some people is they came in for the latter half of last week and stayed for the first half of this week. So. They made a week of it, and we're able to cover part of both, which does make sense.
That does make some sense. I mean, you're missing half of one and half of the other, so if there's cool stuff in those halves, then you're boned. But whatever, I don't know. I'm picking on these two events, and I should not be picking on these two events because what do I care? It's like you guys do you. But anyway, Villiger Entertainment Report. What do you even watch? You got to draw me in here, buddy. I'm gonna just start throwing shit out there. So
let's see. Shows I've been watching. How I Met Your Mother. Going back through that one.
I've never watched that.
It's good. It's on Hulu.
I've seen clips.
Yeah.
I've seen the reels and the clips of like Barney and whatever else. Yeah. But like, I've never watched it.
It's good. It's good. Not the biggest fan of how they ended it, but it's another one of those.
She dies or something, right?
Yeah.
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 Spoilers.
They could have ended it better.
Now the spinoff, the How I Met Your Father, that just got canceled.
It just got canceled. I know.
Wow.
We had been watching it.
Did it end on a like cliffhanger, and so it's
kind of
forever going to be like dead?
They didn't close it up. No.
See, I hate that. I hate that. I don't know. That just ruins a show. And it guarantees that I'll never watch it. Like, I will never, ever. Did you just go out?
I think it did.
You hit that again.
I've been talking. Yep.
You've been trying to defend the Atlanta Cigar Week and Atlanta Cigar Experience from me. So How I Met Your Mother. I've been going back through very slowly and watching original Star Trek.
Okay.
For what it's worth, I'm in the back half of the third season, which is really when it starts to slide downhill hard. Because by this point, Gene Roddenberry he's on it as executive producer, but he really doesn't have jack shit to do with it anymore. Gotcha. And the budget is being slashed repeatedly, and so it's not. There's some good ones like I'm gonna totally nerd out for a moment here and talk about some good Star Trek, but the Tholian Web, the Tholian Web one was good, and then I'm coming up on the one with Frank Gorshin, and I don't know if you know who Frank Gorshin is, but he played the Riddler in the Adam West Batman TV series.
Okay,
he does one where it's like these aliens and like it's split down the middle. Half of them are painted white and the other half is painted black. Mm-hmm. But like some of them, the right half is painted black and the left half is painted white, and then on other ones it's reversed, and like they're like racist towards the other ones and all this, and they gotta like get over it and shit. And so there was a lot of heavy themes in Star Trek back in the day. I mean, come on, it was the 60s. Yeah. So the one I just watched not too long ago, Plato's Stepchildren. I just watched that last night, actually, right here on the patio in the Jerry Tobacco Aladino Mobile Studios. And Plato's Stepchildren actually featured the kiss between Kirk and Uhura, which was the first interracial kiss on TV. And that was a big fucking deal back in the 60s, man.
I'm sure.
That was a big deal. Like, there were threats about not airing it and blah, blah, blah. And I think in some parts of the country they did not air it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was like a big deal. So, anyway, Star Trek. It's not just nerdy. Anyway, so what else have you been watching other than How I Met Your Mother?
So my wife and I have been watching through The Blacklist. I don't know. Have you seen it?
I've seen early seasons.
Okay.
I kind of lost track of it at some point.
Yeah.
But I love
it's on Netflix.
Love James Spader.
Watching it. Yeah. It's such a great show.
Have you watched Boston Legal?
No, I've not.
Dude, you gotta go. All right, when you're done with The Blacklist,
I've heard that
watch Boston Legal.
Good.
It's technically a spinoff of The Practice.
Yeah.
But like, I never watched The Practice. I didn't care, and I started with Boston Legal. And trust me, you figure it out real quick.
Okay.
But the scenes with William Shatner and James Spader are like some of the best TV, man. Those two guys just chewing the
both
scenery.
great actors.
Just chewing the scenery up.
Yeah.
You know, and then Candace Bergen's on it. Murphy Brown.
Yeah.
You know? And then, the dude who played Odo in DS9 is on it. And then John Larroquette comes along later as well. So, like, you get some really good actors in that show. And, like, dude, Boston Legal. I'm all about Boston Legal. Anyway. Where do I go? So sorry.
So, but yeah, so we've been watching The Blacklist. So typically we'll, have a show or two that we watch together, and then, we'll each kind of have a show that we're watching on our own.
I'll admit.
That way we're not having to, like,
it's so
if
nice.
the other's not around, we have something we can watch.
I'm not telling you to get divorced, but it's so nice being able to not have to worry about, like, waiting for somebody else to watch a show now. I can just watch whatever the hell I want whenever I want to watch it.
Well, granted, these are,
I mean, let's be real.
These are on Netflix, and,
if that's the reason that you're getting divorced.
There's 6 seasons to, or however many.
You've got problems, but
seasons to watch.
Yeah.
So, it's not like we're, waiting for something that's coming on once a week, and, But, so I've been watching The 100. It's
I don't know that one.
I don't even know when it was from. I think it was like an FX or something or maybe CW. It's one of the kind of.
There's a lot of TV I need to catch up on. You just said
it's
FX,
not one of those like the big networks. I guess it's not an ABC or an NBC or a CBS.
Like a sci-fi thing or something.
But yeah. So it's basically in the future, kind of dystopian type thing. Like, the world has been destroyed by, like, nuclear war.
Was it Sci-Fi Channel?
I don't think it is. I think it was CW, maybe.
Okay.
CW sounds
right. CW. They do all kinds of stuff. They
and
used to. I don't even know if CW is even a thing anymore.
I think they are. I think they still are. I don't.
Because didn't they get rid of all the, like, Arrowverse stuff?
I don't know.
Okay. Because that was holding them up.
I'm like you. I've cut the cord, and, like, we've got an antenna.
That was holding them up
antenna.
for the longest time. That and Riverdale were like the things that really like propped up CW for quite a while. But okay, anyway, I'm sorry. I keep interrupting. So the 100 dystopian future.
Yeah. World has been destroyed by nuclear war. There's people. There were multiple space stations that all kind of figured out they needed to join together and create one big, they called the Ark. And it, people were living on it for like 100 years or something like that.
Okay.
And, I think it was like 3 generations of people on it. And then, so then they decide to send 100 juvenile delinquents, essentially. So they kept their, the under 18s that had broken the law, they held, whereas over 18 and you broke the law, you got what they called floated, which was just like sent out into space.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so the 100, juveniles, they send to Earth to see if it, if it can sustain life, and turns out it can. There's a lot of stuff.
Okay.
I think there's maybe 6 seasons of it, 6
or
7.
Okay,
I think
so it went on for a little while.
We're on 5, maybe. Yeah. So,
okay. All right.
Or I am. Yeah. Like I said, that's the one that I'm kind of watching.
That's your show.
Which, yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
my wife watches it with me some, but for the most part, then one that I am doing, that typically once a week or so is Boy Meets World, which I don't know if you ever.
Oh, way back in the day, yeah.
So
nothing recently,
that's my hands down favorite show all time. And
how old are you?
30.
Oh fuck, you're a lot younger than me. Okay, that explains that. Okay, all right. That the timing of that explains.
Yeah,
it. You grew up with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that show was a
Well,
little
and
bit...
I grew up on the reruns of it for the most part.
See, that's the thing. That was a little bit past me. Like, for me, when I was young...
Because it ran from 93 to 2000.
Okay, because, for me, when I was young, it was, like, old school TGIF. So it was, like, Family Matters, Full House.
I was going to say, it was on TGIF.
You know, what was the other one? Fucking Perfect Strangers.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember the last one. But, yeah. So, okay, all right. That makes some sense.
But, so, some of the cast members do a rewatch podcast called Pod Meets World.
Mm-hmm.
And I listen to it, and so each week they, recap one of the episodes.
So you're watching
So then I'll watch it
once a week
after,
to keep up with it.
So after they do the rewatch episode, I'll watch it.
I tried doing that with The Sopranos.
Yeah.
They have that Talking Sopranos podcast. The problem that I ran into is I was listening to it as episodes were coming out.
Yeah.
And so each week another episode would come out and I would watch an episode. But the problem was I didn't want to wait a week. So then I was like, I'll just watch one ahead. Then I'll watch two ahead. And before long, I'd burned through the seasons already. And like maybe one podcast had come out since then. So it was like I gave up on the podcast. Now, realistically, I think at this point, they've probably put them all out. I think they've done the whole series at this point. So I probably should, go back. And now I can do it proper.
Alternate them.
Yeah, I can just do it proper, because
you can binge both.
Yeah, doing it once a week like that. Because you're saying this is like one of your favorite shows. I mean, same thing with me with Sopranos. It was difficult for me to restrict myself to doing it just once,
See, where I'm because I've seen, I've seen every episode and I've watched through it at least a couple times.
Yeah,
so
exactly,
I'm okay with waiting a week, and so
I wasn't. It was just, especially when that little next episode thing just kind of comes up on the screen and it's so quick. I'm like, why not? What's one more? Next thing you know, it's 3 a.m. and I'm like, I really need to go to bed, So, anyway, so is that it? Any other things you're watching? Enjoyed by?
I think that's pretty much all I've been watching.
I've been catching up on Futurama still.
Yeah.
I was actually watching that before you got here, and that's really about it. I don't really have too many shows going right now. There's a lot that I need to catch up on. Like, there's a whole new season of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia that I need to catch up on. The 3rd season of Only Murders in the Building, I think, has got like most of it out at this point. I need to catch up on. That show's great.
I've thought about
that. Show's great.
I think at some point I'm gonna watch that one. I haven't started watching it yet, but but yeah,
I don't know. Otherwise, it's just I did watch a documentary on Netflix.
Okay,
called Wham, and it's all about the band.
Wham. Yeah,
Gervais talked about it on here at one point or another, and so I watched that Monday.
Okay,
and at first I was kind of like, I heard it was good, but it's Wham. What do I care? Holy shit, it was great. And, like, it was super insightful. There was a lot going on. And, like, they really didn't have a lot of drama, aside from the fact that, George Michael was gay and totally trying to, like, play this, like, female heartthrob for everybody. And so, like, that was kind of a problem for him.
Kind of an internal drama for him.
But see, what was cool is I always thought that when Wham broke up and George Michael went big and Andrew Ridgeley kind of went on his way, and you never heard from Andrew Ridgeley really ever again. I always kind of thought that, like, there was bad blood between them and, like, whatever. Dude, not at all. Andrew Ridgeley knew what was going on because George Michael came out to him really early.
Yeah.
And so, like, he understood, like, that there was more to the music than just the music. That it was, like, George Michael was using this as a way to, like, express himself.
Yeah.
And so he understood, like, yeah, I got to let him go. Like, he's got talent, and I got to let him be.
Yeah.
And whatever. And so there was that. And then also, so, like, when they split up, like, it says, like, that Andrew Ridgeley was, like, his biggest fan. Like, George Michael's biggest fan. So I'm like, that's really cool. That they were able to break up And Andrew Ridgely was kind of able to go his way.
Yeah.
And let's be real, he was fucking loaded at this point, so whatever.
Yeah.
And George Michael was able to go his way and do what George Michael did,
Yeah.
And, that's kind of cool. And then Gervais brought this up when he talked about this documentary, and I agree with him. It is absolutely amazing when they're flashing dates up on the screen, and you realize just how meteoric of a rise that this band had in such a short period of time.
Yeah.
Because, you're talking, in 1981, they were, nothing and, just starting out. And by Live Aid, which was, what? When was Live Aid? To the Googles. Or can you Google that? Because I got a cord that's pulling. By the time they got to Live Aid, which was, when was that?
85.
85.
Yeah.
They were all but done. They didn't have too much more to go after Live Aid, And I don't even think Andrew Ridgely played Live Aid. I think it was just George Michael that did Live Aid, and I think that's when he sang "Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me" with Elton John.
Yeah.
And so, by that point, it was pretty obvious. So in the space of, fucking 4 years, Wham goes from nothing to, just dominating the charts and everything like that. The year they put out Do They Know It's Christmas Time?
Yeah.
Or, no, that was the Live Aid song.
That was,
the one, Simply Having a Wonderful Christmas Time. That was the Wham. No.
Last Christmas.
Last Christmas. You're right. Simply Having was, I think,
Paul McCartney.
Paul McCartney. What the fuck am I talking about? Anyway, you're right. Last Christmas. They thought that was going to be their fourth hit for that year.
Yeah.
And if it wouldn't have been for Do They Know It's Christmas Time, they would have gotten, that fourth hit. And what's funny is Last Christmas ended up getting number one on the charts in 2020. So they eventually got that number one, but fucking what? 15, no. 20 something. 35. God, I can't do math. 35 years later, it's they're getting that number one. And George Michael was dead by that point. So it's son of a bitch. But yeah, it was actually just a really well made, really good and documentary, and it was fun. There wasn't all that oh my god, they're doing drugs and blah blah blah. No. They drank, they partied, but they weren't just going crazy and everything else. It was interesting. It was really neat. So
not like the Motley Crue
documentary. No. No, two totally different band experiences between Motley Crue and Wham. But I will say the other thing, and I didn't realize it until I was watching this, Wham had a lot more songs than what I realized.
Yeah.
There's a lot of songs that I don't know if I just chalked it up to, that's a George Michael song or whatever else. But, when I think of Wham, I always think, Wake Me Up Before You Go and whatever. Yeah. But, holy shit, they had a lot more songs than just that one. And it's well, okay, they deserve a little bit of recognition. So that's cool. Anyway, so yeah. That was what I've been watching.
Nice.
So, all right. Well, why don't we go ahead and what?
Oh, I didn't know if we need to do podcast, books, anything if it.
Do you have stuff that you want to throw in?
I can.
If you have stuff you want to throw in, throw in. This is
pretty. Pretty much
entertainment moment.
Already talked about Pod Meets World.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to yours. Cigar Talk, the other cigar podcast that I'm listening to. A lot of the others that at one time, I was probably listening to 4 or 5 different cigar podcasts and stuff, and some of them, have just kind of gone by the wayside. Life
faded
happened
for whatever reason.
Yeah,
I get it.
They've not continued. A
Trust
couple
me,
of them I've dropped off of listening to.
There's definitely days that I'm sitting here going
do I really want to do 2 this week?
But you got to do what you got to do. See, that's the thing. I live by deadlines between my newspaper and this and everything. So it's I understand. And I have sponsors and everything, so I understand the obligation of doing it. It's you maybe you're tired, maybe you don't want to do it, maybe you don't really have jack shit to talk about, but by God, you got to figure something out because they paid for that spot and they got to get it out there, you know. Anyway, so yeah, I get it. So okay, so podcast.
So yeah, there's podcast, books. So So for those that, haven't been listening, that haven't been listening to know, I have a 10-and-a-half-month-old daughter, Magnolia, and so
Dr. Seuss.
So I do reading the bedtime stories usually, and started, out trying to do some of the little books, and I just couldn't, I was like, I'm not about this shit.
So we're coming up on Christmas time. Have you ever heard of Hooker and Blow Save Christmas?
No.
Oh, you need to get that one.
I will have to check that.
I got a copy in there for my kid. Let me tell you, it's a quality Christmas tale.
Sounds
Fun
like
for the
it.
whole family.
Sounds like it. But so I got into. I was like, you know what? We're gonna do novels.
Oh my gosh!
But we do a chapter a night, and so or chapter books. But I did Alice in Wonderland a while back, and so now we've been going through the Chronicles of Narnia series.
Oh, okay.
And
so you're not breaking out like the John Grisham or
No.
It's like Stephen King. Now, Magnolia, I want to tell you all about Cujo. He's a pretty puppy, isn't he? Yeah. No, don't do that.
So we're currently on the Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
Okay.
Which is
See, I'm not familiar with as
book
much
in the
of
series.
Yeah, see, you've gone way past my knowledge of it. I know basically
The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. See, that, when I was in elementary school, we read that, and, fourth grade maybe, we read it as a class.
Yeah.
And, I enjoyed it. I liked it. Then, I guess I was in probably middle school when the movie came out. Maybe It may have been high school. But, and I didn't watch it until a few years after that, I don't think. And then, fast forward, 3 or 4 years ago, I came across the series at an estate sale or something like that,
so
and got it and read through, really liked it. Then come to find out 2 of the other books were made into movies as well as, they were sequels to
I didn't even know they
The
made
Lion, the Witch,
sequels
and
to
the
that, actually.
movie. Yeah, I didn't realize until I started reading those. But yeah, so there's 7 books in the series. They were, and it's kind of it's almost Star Wars in how, people with how they're watching order and stuff.
Okay.
So 5 of them came out earlier, and then a few years later, the other 2, but when you look at the books chronologically, those 2 fit in the middle instead of at the end.
5.
So yeah, they go,
So you're bouncing around
but
a little bit.
And so the book set that I got has them in the chronological order of the occurrences in the books, not the publishing chronology.
I gotcha.
So I just read it, that way. But
well, very cool. Well, now let's do this.
Guess what, motherfucker?
It's time for 3 cigars we smoked and enjoyed this week. And this is when both of us get on our phone to remind ourselves what we smoked. I'm trying to think of what it is that I have had and smoked recently. But would you like to go first, or shall I?
I can go first. Well, last night I had a Viva La Vida Toro.
Okay.
And I was at an event and saw it in their humidor and grabbed it, and because I hadn't had one in a while. And
it has been a while, actually.
Then
I've had one of those.
Once I got it and started taking it out of the cellophane, the cellophane had a little color to it. I was like, okay, this has got some age on it. Pulled it out. There was a little bit of plume kind of on the...
Sure it was plume?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am always so paranoid about that, man, because it's one of those things where plume can be so easily misidentified, and I just, the last thing in the world I want to do is
inhale mold.
Fire up and inhale hot mold, It's that sounds like a good time.
No, but, definitely looked like plume, and yeah, great cigar.
Good.
So
my first one is the Perdomo 20th Anniversary Sun Grown. I smoked that out on the patio the other day, and it's one of those things. It's just one that I know. It's one I know. I know it well. I'm really looking forward to trying the 30th anniversary.
Yeah, me too.
Really looking forward to that. But for now, I was perfectly happy with the 20th anniversary Sun Grown. So, your next one?
Next one.
You got to be prepared for this, man.
Yeah. Was
busting your ass
at an event on Monday with Sean Williams, who y'all had on
Cohiba.
from
Yeah,
Cohiba, and it is his cigar, the Silencio, which is one that you can only get at events that he's at.
Oh, that's cool.
And that was good. I was like, that's hands down best Cohiba I've had.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's what makes it special.
So,
yeah. Well, very cool. My next one, I fired up the fire pit the other night, and I sat out, and I had a Crux Epicure Habano. That's the new one with that kind of light or yellow band to it.
Yep.
My favorite Crux by far. Whole line, favorite one. And, I make no bones about it. That is the best cigar that they have in their core line at this point, and I love it. So I would smoke the hell out of that thing.
Yeah. That one's really good. I've got one with me on this trip.
Oh, there you
as
go.
Well, so yep.
Well, I know places
I'm pretty sure I still have it. Yeah.
So. Okay. So your last one.
So my last one is a Don Doroteo, and unfortunately, I do not know the name of it. So Don Doroteo is a brand that's a couple years old. I first encountered them. So Ashley, Big Ashes.
Yeah.
So she had them in one of her boxes that she does, and and the ones that. So they first came out with a line that the cigars themselves, had been rolled and were 14 years old.
Oh my gosh!
And they came out last year, I guess. I think they said because so Justin, who's their VP of sales for the Eastern United States, I guess.
Yeah.
But said that he was saying they're 15 years old. So, but since they got cigars that were that old, they also don't have any more of them.
Yeah.
To have. So they came out with a new line at PCA, and these are using 7-year-old tobacco.
Okay.
In them, and so it was one of those, and I think it was a Corojo wrapper on this. So I think one of them has a Corojo, one of them has a Cameroon.
Oh, okay.
But I think they're the same blend, but just with different wrappers. And I may be, remembering completely wrong.
Pulling shit out of your ass.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's all right.
It was good, though.
Well, that's all that matters. It was good. My last one, realistically, this has been kind of a busy week. I haven't, with getting ready for the weekend and, getting all my work done for the week and everything like that. So I honestly haven't done too terribly much smoking in this past week. And then I had my son over the past weekend. So I don't really get a whole lot accomplished smoking-wise when I have him. So my last one is one I smoked on my drive yesterday doing my deliveries, and that was a Charter Oak Habano. It's
nice.
It's become my road stick.
Yeah.
The fact that you can get a box of them for $95. It smokes wonderfully. Yep. They fixed all the wrapper issues that I experienced early on with it. I mean, I haven't really had any that have, been cracked or torn or anything like that. And dude, the thing just smokes wonderfully. Produces a lot of smoke on it. Oh, you know what? I do have one other one other than the Charter Oak Habano. It's one that I fired up and enjoyed. I smoked it in the car on the way back from the printer, and it's one that, I can't remember the last time I smoked one of these, but it was a Fat Bottom Betty.
Okay.
I smoked a Fat Bottom Betty, and
there you go.
You know what? I every once in a while, a flavored cigar like that just hits right.
Yeah.
And that day, was having some tummy issues, and it was just one of those things where I was like, you know what?
Something sweet.
I want something a little sweet, and it worked out really well, and I dug it. It was good.
Nice.
Yeah. It'll be another year before I have another one, but for right now.
I don't think I've ever had a fat bottom Betty. I know I had the leather rose.
I've got them in there.
But,
well, realistically,
you
no,
know.
the leather rose is different.
Yeah.
But the Crazy Alice and the Sweet Jane and the Fat Bottom Betty, they're pretty much the same blend.
Okay.
But just different sizes and different bands, I think.
But I think
Drew Estate may correct me, but the leather rose is different.
Each one's come in different sizes now, so I'm thinking they may all taste very similar.
Yes,
but they may. I think they may be different blends, at least slightly, but
maybe slightly.
But
I do know the leather rose is different enough.
Yeah.
that one is obvious that it's different. So
yeah.
Anyway,
I had one of those, and I'm not a fan of the sweet cigars.
I get it.
Which
the sweet
actually,
tip goes away after a while. You
It
still get the
does.
floral and everything from the
Yeah.
smoking experience, but the hell was that?
That's my insulin pump.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Calling you out, making sure my board wasn't exploding or something like that. So, anyway, okay. Well,
yeah.
You were saying the sweet ones you don't really do.
Yeah, because it does fade after a while. And actually something that I had heard somebody say on another podcast talking about I think it was about the Island Gym was the one that I had heard them talk about doing it.
Yeah.
Is smoke it backwards.
Really?
Because then, the foot of it's open. It's going to be a larger draw, depending on what size cigar.
Yeah.
But you're not going to have the sweet end in your mouth.
True.
And so I did actually try that somewhere.
I've never had
I've
good luck with that. It always blows apart.
Really?
Yeah. Every time I try to, I've only tried it maybe a couple of times, but every time I do it always just kind of blows apart.
Yeah. I was somewhere and needed a quicker cigar. I was in a humidor somewhere and looking for something to grab. And I saw these and I hadn't the brand's like a number or something. It was like a 708 or something. It was something like that. And I wasn't really familiar with them. I had seen them a time or two maybe, but wasn't familiar with them. And so I grabbed one just to, and was going to try. And the guy was like, those are sweet tip. I don't know if you realize. I was like, it'll be all right. And so I cut the end and lit it and, smoked it backwards.
Interesting.
And it did well. So
okay. Well, very good. Well, we now are going to move on to, you know what? We'll move on to this, and then we'll do one more thing. This would normally be the time that I give some information about My Monthly Cigars, but I've hired that out this week, so take it away.
My Monthly Cigars is a premium cigar subscription service. It comes in a variety of different size boxes at affordable prices. Use offer code PULPIT and get free shipping on your first box and 20% off any items in the online store at mymonthlycigars.com.
That's offer code PULPIT. Thanks. We could have, but yeah, she's out of town, so I'm sure she would have loved that, me breaking into her garage, but whatever. Yeah, so no, while you're over there at My Monthly Cigars, make sure you check out the fucking good coffee and get some of that in your cupboard because let me tell you, it's fucking good. And so,
it is.
So don't be a fucker. Get the fucking good coffee. Now, let's do this.
Contestants to your corners. It's time for a super fight.
Super fight. So, we have a super fight. Now, prior to the show starting, Trent drew some cards. And so we are now prepared to unveil the contestants with their attributes. So, what do we have, Trent?
So, in one corner, we have a woolly mammoth.
Okay.
This woolly mammoth is piloting an attack drone. Mm-hmm. But he's also locked in a shark cage.
So, okay, so that makes sense. He can't move because he's in the cage, but he has an attack drone.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
So, in the other corner is Canada.
Well, okay.
And Canada can run 200 miles an hour, but only in a straight line.
Okay.
And Canada is also wearing a flaming tutu.
Shit. So are we talking like the whole country of Canada?
I don't know.
Like the whole population of Canada?
Well, is it
like Luke and Joe?
All Canadians?
Luke and Joe.
But it says Canada.
Curious
like, is that,
Jen
I mean,
and everybody? Or is it like a large landmass
the
that's
mass
like
of Canada? I mean,
suddenly grew legs and is like running at a woolly mammoth?
In a straight line.
Wearing a flaming tutu.
But as long as that woolly mammoth is in that cage that's in front of the straight line that it can run, I mean, but yeah, I don't know about that.
The thing is
it
Canada's going to have to dodge around because there's an attack drone. It can't run in a straight line because otherwise it's going to run right into an attack drone.
But
so, I mean, but it is
Canada's a large country.
But here's the thing: we're either talking a very large landmass, or we're talking the entire population of Canada. So, like, can a single attack drone in a shark cage stop the entire population of Canada? I mean, here's the thing: every time they get a hit in on the
every
attack
time it
drone,
bumps it, sorry.
Luke's going to listen to this on his drive-in tomorrow, and he's just going to be like, oh,
he's
my
going to be ready to kick our asses when he gets there.
You know what? That's the thing. We'll have to ask Luke this question. I mean, I'm sure he's going to be biased and say that it's, Canada.
That they're going to
But yeah, I agree. Now, do you watch Letterkenny at all?
Mm-mm.
Okay, now that's a great show. And
I've heard it's good.
There are different camps within that show, and one of them is, they've got the farm guys, the scrap, and they're the brawlers, and that kind of thing. But then there are other groups that really aren't really great at fighting. So, it's one of those things where you look. Now they do have hockey players, and hockey players can be tough. They can be violent, So like that's something too. I think if we're talking the total population of Canada versus a woolly mammoth in a shark cage
woolly mammoth
with an attack drone, I think we're going to have to give it to the mass
I think
of Canada.
Canada's getting it, yeah.
I think Canada gets it. Now, if we're talking the land mass versus the woolly mammoth in the cage with the attack drone,
I mean, hell,
I still think we probably have to give it to Canada just because Canada's a big freaking land
country.
mass.
Yeah,
so
that's a lot of land. I think it's going to be Canada
I
either
will
way
say
on that.
the flaming tutu could cause some really bad wildfires there.
Yeah.
And let's be real, Canada's already been experiencing wildfires, which means
that's true.
We're going to get a lot of smoke down here in the United States when this fight's going on.
But depending on how far they go, I mean, they're moving at 200 miles an hour.
That's true. That's true.
By the time everything catches and starts smoking a lot,
they
may already be gone.
I'll say this: the shark cage,
far enough away.
It's significant, but it's not impenetrable.
No.
So like Canada could totally bust through a shark cage.
I was gonna say you just watched the Meg 2,
right? Exactly.
So
exactly.
I mean,
so yeah, that's. I think I got to give it to Canada. I think I got to give it to Canada here.
I think I agree with you. I think.
Either which way. Be it the population or the landmass. I think either one it's going to be that. But I do think the woolly mammoth at least gets some good hits in with the attack drone. I think the attack drone.
Yeah, it's going to take out some people.
It's going to take out some people.
Because regardless of whether it's
Ontario,
the mass of land or it's just the people,
you might lose
the
Ontario,
people are still
Alberta.
on that mass of land while it's going.
Yeah.
So,
you might take out some spots, but, but if it's the people, then the attack drone. Yeah, it's just going to overwhelm. It's just the people are just going to overwhelm.
Yeah. See, what comes to my mind when we're talking about this and the land, everybody talks about like how California is going to break off one day or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm thinking. It's like
exactly.
Fault line.
Canada breaks off,
all
grows legs,
of Canada,
and starts running at
and
a woolly mammoth.
The fault line. I mean, something happens and it just starts pushing that entire mass of land.
Now, is it
at 200
flat
miles
like
an
this,
hour.
or does Canada flip up like this and have legs, and then suddenly it's like that way?
I don't know.
I mean,
because a lot of people would be like falling.
I would say everybody would just be falling. Yeah,
it would look like Titanic kind of thing, like whenever everybody just sliding off into the ocean. So,
yeah,
I mean, the mass of land would still take out the mammoth, but it might be uninhabited at that point.
I think Canada takes it.
I think Canada's got it either way. Yeah, I agree.
Well, I am getting very near the end of my American here, down to just a little bit. And so let's give some final thoughts on the American, and then we'll close it out with the socials. So what are you getting on the American?
Yeah, I mean, I've still been getting kind of that musty note off and on that I talked about, and definitely some earthy. I'm still getting kind of the same.
There's a little strength
stuff,
that's picked
but
up
it's
to
kind
it.
of yes.
The strength is definitely picked up.
There's been a little bit of pepper spice mixed in with the baking spice. Not
just a smidge.
Not a lot. Not overwhelming, but there's definitely
just a little bit,
a touch of pepper spice. Yeah.
But it's smoking wonderfully, and I don't really want to give it up, but I've got like that much left, so not very.
Fortunately, I still have a little more.
You do have more, but. Anyway, well, on the socials, I'm available on Instagram at The Cigar Pulpit, as well as on Facebook, where we have the Cigar Pulpit Parishioners Group. Get in on that fun. And I'm on Twitter/X, but I really don't do a whole lot on it. YouTube, where you can watch this. And, guys, we do need your calls and questions for Ask the Boys. That is rapidly approaching for this month. So you still have a little bit of time. Get your calls in. Area code 863-874-0000. And I don't know, there's been all kinds of questions posed to you this month between cigars you like to smoke outdoors and I don't even remember all the rest of the questions. Cigars you like to smoke outdoors.
What was Nick Gervais's? He had something.
The porno name for the Cigar Pulpit.
Yes.
Like Shaving Ryan's Privates is the porno name for Saving Private Ryan. Well, in this case, what would the porno name for the Cigar Pulpit be? But, get your calls and questions in. Area code 863-874-0000. And Trent, where can everybody follow you?
This is my cigar account on Instagram.
That's all it is. This is my
cigar account.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I mean, that makes it easy.
Self-explanatory.
Very easy.
And Trent Smith on Facebook. I'm in the parishioner group, so
for sure. Okay. Well, very cool. Well, unless you have anything else for the betterment of the cause, I think at this point it's time to wrap this thing up and focus on Pulpit Fest.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. Well, guys, this has been another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm Nick.
And I'm Trent.
Everybody stay safe and stay smoky. This is normally where I would say something witty, but I have to piss like a racehorse. So, later, guys.